So you want me to read that over again? Okay, here we go. The first submission is submission number A25123, notice of public hearing under section 45(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. The owner is Noble Real Limited Partnership, and we have a number of people here presentation. It's in Ward 14. The location is 961 Pond Mills Road and 1040 Wilton Grove. The purpose to permit outdoor storage and permanent shipping containers in the front yard. Variance is required. There's 5. Bear with me while I read them. To permit open storage within the front yard, whereas no open storage area shall be permitted in any front or exterior side yard, except for the outside display and sales area for goods and materials that are in conjunction with the permitted commercial or industrial use. Number 2, to permit 6 shipping containers within the front yard, whereas shipping containers shall only be permitted in the rear yard. 3, to permit a 1.0 meter rear yard setback to the shipping containers, whereas 1.2 meter is the minimum required. To permit a 0.0 south interior side yard setback to the shipping containers, whereas 1.2 meters is the minimum required. Number 5, to permit 6 permanent shipping containers not exceeding 12.2 meter in length by 2.8 meters in width by 2.9 meters in height, whereas 2 temporary shipping containers not exceeding 6 meters in length times 2.4 meters width and 2.6 meters is the height is the maximum permitted. So we've got 5 of them and we're ready to go. Does anybody want a presentation? This is their return visit. So if you want to, we can go ahead, see if there's anything you want to bring up. No? Committee's okay with that? Yes. Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Okay, that's good. So who's representing? Is it John? Is John there?
Sorry, I'm out of practice. Yes, Madam Chair, I'm here.
Smarten up, John. Smarten up. This is your second, this is your return visit.
That's I know, I should be better, yes.
Go ahead,
should I go ahead? Okay.
Let's do.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. It's nice to see you and the committee again. And I want to start out by thanking staff. We're back again, but a second report in front of you again, confirming staff's recommendation for approval. And we appreciate the work that we've had with them to try and address the issues that have come forward. Today, I'd like to, I did circulate in advance a presentation. I wonder, Madam Chair, if you have that in front of you, because I will be referring to it. Okay. And you can see on the first page where I'm heading with this, and I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. A little bit of background, because I do want to talk about the context in terms of the official plan, the zoning bylaw. We have here some members from Fountain Tire. And in particular, I'm going to, in a moment, introduce Yves Richard and just punch it over to him for a moment. He's the Vice President of Supply and Wholesale for Fountain Tire. And he'll speak to you a little bit about why they need this yard, the logistics around large tires such as these, and the importance of the agricultural community. And then I want to take that long list that you had, I think there were about 5 variances, make it really simple for you, just in terms of here's one variance, and here's the other variances that relate to the required shipping containers, and then just the 4 tests. So I'll be, as I said, as brief as possible. And I'd like to, if I could, through you, Madam Chair, just introduce then Yves Richard. I'd like to speak for a moment about Fountain Tire. And as I said, he's the Vice President of Supply and Wholesale.
Fine, thank you. Yves, welcome.
Thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about Fountain Tire. To the extent that it will be helpful in this matter, I'll try to be brief. Fountain Tire is a network of, amongst other things, a network of 169 stores across Canada, serving customers with all manner of vehicles, as well as the tire dealers that serve them through our wholesale operation. We're 70 years old this year. We're based in Alberta. and started organically from a two-bay shop in Wainwright, Alberta, that primarily served the farming community back in 1956. We pride ourselves on being a good corporate and community citizen, certainly adhere to all laws and bylaws and intend to always do so. And our stated core purpose is helping people get there safely, sustainably, and successfully. Now, why is outdoor storage required? Well, it's really simply a matter of logistics, tire size, weight. A lot of the tires that we deal with are of very large size. An average in the ag world, especially in the rear of a tractor or other vehicle, or for tires in construction, are that they're around 5 feet. They can be around 5 feet in diameter on average to much larger, commonly around 1,000 pounds, but can get much heavier. In particular, when when the tire is already mounted on a wheel, which is the case at times. So this requires specialized equipment to safely manipulate and load, and it really is just not feasible to operate this equipment inside or to organize a distribution center in a way that would be effective indoors. As for the importance of these products to end users, I mean, obviously, we're not the only tire provider in the region. That said, though, we do contribute a meaningful number of aftermarket tires to the agricultural and construction industries. And for example, should we be suddenly unable to operate in the short term, that would likely lead to farmers having a much more difficult time sourcing product quickly, which if they're in the throes of seeding season or harvest season, depending on the timing, can be extremely problematic to them. Time is money in the field. Many of these tires are ordered at least 3 months ahead of time. Some of them come from overseas, and so that just means a lot of preparation goes into supporting these industries in a timely fashion. Happy to answer any questions if you have any, but that was just a little bit from Fountain Tire on the importance.
The reason I'm doing this is because this is a return visit, and I know we have members of the public here. So we're going to come back to you because you're going to answer questions from the public. But I noticed with the report that you sent in, John, was very fulsome. There was a lot of reading in it. And I certainly appreciated the numbers of the concerns about the fire equipment to ensure that people were safe. So if you want to do a short presentation, we'll open the public and then you can answer some questions. Would you rather do that or wait till after?
Was that addressed to me?
Yeah, John.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, if it's okay with you, I'd just like to continue, and I'll keep it as short as possible.
Sure.
But I think it'll maybe clarify a couple of items up front that might help us with the discussion.
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would move now to page 3 of the presentation. You can see the context, and I think this is an important piece here, that this is in a highly industrial area. To the south of Wilton Grove Road is actually heavy industrial, and that's directly adjacent to the site. But then to the east is the light industrial designation. You're going to see that in zone that applies to these lands as well as the residential use next door. It's all designated industrial. That's the long-term plan. It's all zoned light industrial. So that is the context that we're dealing with in this case. And you can see when you zoom into, I've zoomed in on page 4 of the presentation, and you'll see that where the tires were piled, and this is a previous photo, those have all been moved to the east side of the site, 30 meters from the western lot line. And that's created the need then to establish the north yard so that we can get those tires, which right now are piled high, as you can imagine, because of taking half of the site and removing storage from it. But that's where the tires will be placed, in the north yard and the south yard that you're seeing on slide number 4. Going to the next slide, you can see the actual proposal. This is slide number 5. Those black boxes are the tire piles, and you can see there's the north yard and the south yard. Now, something you'll also see there in orange are the shipping containers that we're talking about. And although all of the piles will remain 30 meters from the western lot line, the shipping containers are an additional precaution, and that's something that's been required by the deputy fire chief or the chief fire official that's reviewing these kinds of plans. and he's now approved that plan and required that those shipping containers be put in place. So that's why they're there, and that constitutes 4 or 5 of the variances that are before you today. The next slide, number 6, shows the official plan designation. I've already spoken to that, but you can see it relative to where those the site itself and where those tires are piled. And you can see that in this photo, where we show the zoning is light industrial for the entire area, that the tires have been moved to the east side of the site. So then flip to number 3, which is on slide number 8. And the first variance that we're talking about, and this is consistent with Ms. Cernich's report from planning, outdoor storage is a permitted use. That needs to be clear in the light industrial 2 zone. Outdoor storage of tires is permitted use. So this is not something that's new or not permitted in the zone. This is a corner site, and it's very difficult in a corner site to not be either in a front yard or a side yard. And when you look at the remainder of the site, a portion north of the building, the Fountain Tire building, is actually in the floodplain, so not eligible for this kind of storage. And the remainder of the site is being taken up functionally by other uses. The Fountain Tire use is on the east side. This is functionally the only alternative location on the site to store these tires, which, as I say, is permitted by the zoning. So now go to the official plan, and that's slide number 9. And I think it needs to be clear that there's nothing in the official plan that prohibits outdoor storage in the exterior and front yard of an industrial area. But what it does do is it says large open storage areas will be screened with fencing and landscaping that is appropriate, and this is key too, within the surrounding context and the view corridors. So let's test that out. So the first part is, will it be screened? Well, as per the official plan, the south yard's already screened. It's part of the requirement in terms of the fire code approvals that were given by the fire department, but it's there, it's screening the tires, and I've got a photo of that, and I'll show you in a minute. Also, as per the official plan, there is a requirement as per the fire code that the piles not be any greater than 3 meters in height. So there's a limitation in height also going to be obscured from view. And then the official plan, the second part of that clause speaks to context. And on page 10, you'll see the context for the area. Directly south is Ross Towing. You can see all of those large tow trucks that are lined up, the outdoor storage that's in that Ross Towing, that even includes a storage container or 2. You'll see that there's other, just 3 or 4 doors down along Wilton Grove to the east. There's all kinds of shipping containers that are stored in that front yard, and all kinds of truck trailers as well. There's heavy equipment in the same light industrial zone just around the corner. So the context is one of this kind of character, which would have that sort of outdoor storage and industrial type of presence at the street. Slide number 11 shows the tire piles that have been screened and the screen that's around there. This is on the south yard. So that's the first variance, and that's really the main reason we're here. But then the second group of variances relates to the shipping containers that were required for that fire code approval. So the storage plan has been approved, and I circulated the plan plus the actual email and certification from the chief fire official that says, yes, this is approved. But those shipping containers need to be in place as part of that, despite the fact that the tire is going to remain 30 meters set back from that western lot line. And those containers have to be left empty. That's part of the fire code approval. So they're not going to be used for storage. They're simply an extra precaution. So essentially, we're meeting all of the requirements of the zone, with the exception of those 2. One is the front yard storage, and the second being allowing for the shipping containers. The last slide then says requested variances meet the 4 tests of minor variance. And when you consider how minor these variances are, including, I didn't get into the details relating to shipping containers, but for example, 1.2 meters is the requirement. 1 meter is the setback that we're achieving. That's less than a foot. So they are minor in nature. They're desirable in terms of the development of the land. You've heard from Mr. Richard about the importance of the agricultural community. This is a desirable use, as well as a construction community. Maintains general intent and purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. So I'll conclude there. Thank you for the time to just provide that presentation. And if there's any questions you have, I'm glad to answer them. And as I said, we've got others from Fountain Tire as well as from a representative from the ownership of the site as well.
Okay, thank you, John. Sandra, do we have the members of the public? Kevin, are you here for this application?
Through the chair, we have Scott in the committee room.
Scott?
Got it.
Who's?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. Oh,
Well, I don't think. Sorry.
Oh, hold on a minute. I gotta have a motion. We open up to the public.
thank you.
Moved by Danielle, second by Miriam, all in favor, opposed, carried. Sorry, I'm rushing myself. When you get old, you move faster.
Can you hear me again? Okay.
Yes,
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. I don't know how well I speak, but I'll try to convey this as best as I can. I know I got everything stacked against me, especially because Mr. Fleming here used to work for the city, a lot of connections. That's nothing against you. But I just need you to hear me out on these couple of things. Unfortunately, McLaughlin and Adam Sukard and Noble REIT promised Fountain Tires the world here, and they had a property suitable for them, but they obviously didn't. So there's lots of other places in the city. There's lots of buildings, lots of industrial land. But unfortunately, it was a money thing, and Noble REIT, Adam Sukard and McLaughlin's, again, promised you guys the world and obviously didn't do their due diligence. And
sorry, Scott, could you address the committee?
Committee. Sorry, I'm just looking at the screen. Sorry, committee.
I understand that, but also what you're talking about is you're actually
Okay, sorry.
people in here that are not here at this point.
Okay, sorry. My apologies. I was just looking at the screen. Unfortunately, to the committee, this company promised Fountain Tires, a suitable facility and promised them the world, but obviously they're falling way short. And now me and my family are being affected by these big promises. The first thing is the new issues is I was looking at the new North Yard and the tires there. There's a couple tires on the west side, northwest corner. And if they are there, there's no fire protection. There's no containers down there where the doors are, and there's no mesh around the rear of my property. So that'd be the south of my property, north. So I don't know if this was in the first one. I was left out of all the notes. The North Yard, there is a couple, like I said, on the west side. If you allow that tire storage there, there's no fire protection. Again, I'm not gonna knock anybody's credentials or intelligence, but there's a lot of things overlooked, and I'm gonna bring these up now. The chief fire official, if this was my company, he would not be working for me. These new piles, again, there's no fire protection. The second thing is this North Yard. I think this was overlooked. There's a massive power line running into 961 Pond Mills Road. I can't understand. The fire code says, nothing combustible, especially, I know it's not the product, but the storage. How can you have storage under power lines if something were to happen? Obviously, that's going to be a catastrophe. And then with no power going into that building, if the fire or anything does get into the building, there's going to be no fire protection. So I can't understand how piles of very flammable stuff can be put under power lines. I think that was overlooked. Third thing overlooked is this building has an outdoor, this is crazy, but it does. It has an outdoor smoking facility. They actually built a whole Kwanzaa hut for people to smoke. And the smoking facility, the one of them is 5 feet from this tire storage. And that's against every law and regulation. I've got photos and videos of it. People are out there smoking and right beside the tires. And it's going to get worse if this North Yard is allowed. The fourth thing is here, right after our meeting, right after our first meeting, here's a picture here. I think you guys got it. The tires were just in a big pile, and they're supposed to be all separated, but they weren't. And the fifth thing is another thing that was overlooked is, yeah, sure, there's mesh on the fence there, But again, the mesh is held on by aluminum clips. So if something were to happen, actually the guys installing it were actually laughing. They're like, this is useless because if something does happen or a fire, yeah, sure, the mesh will be up, but the aluminum clips will melt and then the mesh will fall and you'll lose your house and your property. And this is actually coming from the guys that put the meshing up. So those are the 5 things that were overlooked from the last time. And I'll just read this quickly. It's about 40 lines, and then I think I'll be finished. And if you have any questions for me, members of the committee, then I'll be sure to answer them.
40 lines? Is this new information, Scott?
Yeah, it's about the cost to city taxpayers, what's going to happen.
Well, it's irrelevant to this application. We can't talk about city taxpayers. We're only talking about this application.
Okay. Yeah, it was just about because there's complaints still coming in and there's going to be a lot of complaints going forward. And unfortunately, it's going to take up a lot of resources with the city, especially now that the 5 things that I just told you that were overlooked from last time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks, Scott. We just want to keep you on time. And are there any further members, Sandra, of the public for this application?
Through the chair, I have no other members of the public.
Thank you then. Could I have a motion to close public? Miriam? Daniela, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Then let's go. John, were you continuing on to answer those questions? AJ, you guys, you're up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just remind the committee, and I think the committee is aware of this, but really this hearing is referring to the minor variances that are before you. In terms of the details of the fire code, that's something that is a responsibility of the fire department. They've looked at the plan and they have approved the plan, and I provided that in writing, both the certification, the email that approves it, as well as the detailed plan. Some of the measures relating to the plan are going to be put in place once we get approval. So that north yard has not been developed out yet. But certainly things like the lines, I was just looking on the photos, and from what I see, those lines are north of, not included within the boundaries of the yard. But all that said, I think that to simplify, the fire code issues are being addressed by the fire department, and it's all about the variances. We wanted you to be aware of why the shipping containers are there, which is part of the variance, and make sure you understood why those need to be there from a fire code perspective. Outside of that, I would just defer to Yves Richard if he has any responses to the questions that were raised or the issues that were raised. And we also do have Adam Suchard here too, I believe. The clerk could clarify, but he indicated he was going to be here as well.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Really don't have much to add. I mean, I think there maybe is some question about the flammability of new tires, and certainly the rubber and the compounds in a tire are intended to withstand a lot of heat because heat is generated when they're in operation. And so they're built to withstand that. There's not really a case that I've heard of say a cigarette being dropped into a pile with new tires and having that ignite. And it needs to be a long, prolonged set of heat. But I mean, I'm not sure what else you'd like me to respond to.
No,
So
that's fine, because that really has nothing to do with the application, with the variances. So I was just giving latitude to members of the public. I always want them to feel like they've been heard. So are there any further comments? Because if not, I'm going to go directly to the committee. No? Committee? Daniela?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
Good, thank you.
Miriam?
No questions, but I just wanted to apologize to Mr. Fleming because I kept on calling him Jeff last time. So I just wanted to put that on record. But no questions. Thank you.
Well, actually, I was very much opposed to and sort of dealt with the referral because of the concern that was expressed by the neighbor. And it certainly wasn't even in the variance. And I certainly appreciate the fact that you went this extra distance to ensure that everything is protected and safe in that area. And I think you got, just listening to you from the company, I'm quite comfortable with actually moving ahead. So I'm going to ask for a decision from the committee. Is there any mover? Yes, Miriam?
I'll move the application forward. Thank you.
Seconded by,
Second.
calling the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. So hold on. Told you, I gotta read stuff. So to the applicant, John, sit down.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
If I'm gonna chair, we're gonna chair it the right way. This permission is not final until the expiration of the statutory appeal period of 20 days from the date the decision is signed, during which the applicant, the minister, or a specified person or public body may file with the Secretary Treasurer an appeal against the decision of Committee of Adjustment. Thank you very much, John.
Understood. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the members of the committee. Thank you.
Now you can get up.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Nope. Okay, next one. Guys ready? Everybody on the committee's ready? Okay.
Yeah.
The next one is submission number A26003, public notice of public hearing under section 45(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. Owner is 73165 Ontario Limited. The location is 3025 Bel Air. There's 4 variances. 1, to permit rear yard setback of 2.6 meters to the parking garage stairwell, whereas 20.0 meters is the minimum required. 2, to permit height of 80.0 meters, whereas 77.0 is the maximum permitted. To permit a density of 290 units per hectare, whereas 262 units per hectare is the maximum permitted. Number 4, to permit a food store with a gross floor area of 1.500 meters square, whereas 1,000 meters square is the maximum permitted. Thank you very much. Anybody like a presentation? We good? Okay. Scott, I guess you're up.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Scott Allen with MHBC Planning. We're acting on behalf of the registered owner and the applicant, care of York Developments. And with me this afternoon, or in the chambers, I should say, are Ali Sutfan and Carlos Ramirez from York Developments, who are available to answer questions. York submitted a letter, Madam Chair, to the committee yesterday, setting out the basis for the minor variance application and responding to concerns expressed in the planning staff report, particularly in relation to variances 2 and 3. And we'd like to provide a few brief comments summarizing the contents of the letter. So at the outset, we'd like to advise the committee that this application is being advanced to achieve 2 primary objectives. Firstly, to optimize the overall development potential of the project for residential purposes. And secondly, to accommodate enclosed rooftop amenity space to support the outdoor amenity space that's already planned for the podium and tower rooftops. So in relation to optimizing site development, our project team determined that the approved project design could be refined to yield 33 additional apartment units to help respond to market demand in the near term. And this would be achieved by increasing the height of the north tower from 18 to 21 stories to match the height of the south tower. And with respect to the amenity space, enclosed rooftop lounges are being proposed as part of a refined design to facilitate year-round use. As enclosed amenity space is not exempted from the height provisions of the zoning bylaw, the result is that the height of the towers increases 3 meters beyond the 67 meters permitted under the B56 bonus zone applicable to the site. In combination, the requested design modifications exceed the maximum height and density permissions of that bonus zone. And we understand that planning staff are concerned that in effect, this revised design represents an over-intensification of the site. So as part of project planning, our team assessed the proposed design modifications and concluded that the requested increase in intensity is relatively modest and appropriate, given that the approved building plans are not substantially changed and considering that these modifications should not conflict with the project's overall functionality or compatibility. And additionally, planning staff report outlined a specific concern with the availability of sanitary servicing capacity to accommodate these additional 33 units. And as outlined in our letter, Stantec confirmed that with these additional units, the peak sanitary flows for York's entire 3080 Bostic Road development equates to 18.41 liters per second, which would not exceed the maximum allowable capacity of 19 liters per second. Also, we understand that the sanitary capacity allocated for the York lands in their entirety currently encompasses a development area, it encompasses a development area of 9.8 hectares, but only 2.9 hectares has been site plan approved. So any short fall in capacity observed going forward can then be addressed in subsequent applications. So given these considerations and commentary provided in our submission, in our opinion, the requested variances satisfy the four tests of the Planning Act, and in particular, in our opinion, the application respects the purpose and intent of the bonus zone and does not represent an over-intensification of the site. And so to conclude, we respectfully request that the committee support all four requested variances, and we're here to answer any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ethan, is there anybody from staff that would like to address it? Or do you want to wait for questions?
Through the chair, I think there are some members of the City of London staff that would like to address it, but I'm not sure. I'll let them speak for themselves as to whether they'd like to do so now or wait until questions are asked. So I think we have Kaylin Toner, we have Michael Wilson in the room here, and I believe I saw Brent Lambert online as well.
Well, I'm of mindset that we get the information up front rather than go into questions, because I'd rather have this sort of a little bit more seamless. So
I think that's a fair request.
Thank you.
I would also like to know which departments they're from,
Yeah.
as I'm not familiar with their names, so
They will introduce themselves, Mr. Guard, and
hopefully,
I'm sure the boss, the sheriff's in town. Okay, Kaylin,
good.
you're with whom?
So my name's Kaylin Toner. I'm with Sewer Engineering with the City of London.
Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm Brent Lambert, Manager of Development Engineering here at the City of London.
Thank you. I think that questions are sort of are with the sewage capability. That seems to be the issue that some of the members of the committee are concerned about.
Yeah, so I can discuss a few points here. So essentially, over the past several years, we've sat down with York. We've had these discussions about capacity allotment for their development lands, which would include this block. And it was agreed upon that 26.5 liters a second would be the maximum sanitary flow that our system could accommodate. It is our understanding, based on our background research, looking at the area plans and design sheets, that the density request that they're seeking today will increase the flow above the 26.5 liters a second, which may cause negative impacts to the downstream municipal system, as outlined in our submitted memo that we sent to the committee. Additionally to that, we also recently completed 2 comprehensive development applications and processes, the subdivision process and site plan for this block. And this is where the request for more density and sanitary flow would have been more appropriate to address and to discuss with York. We feel doing this through the minor variance process before we have those discussions isn't very appropriate in our minds. So at this time, we're just not in a position to accept any increase in flows from this block.
Okay, thank you. Kaylin?
I don't have anything additional to add from Brent there.
Okay. Any other questions at committee? Let's go to questions. Let's deal with it. I think it's important that we address this up front, and then we'll go back to Carlos and Ally. Any questions of Brent? Daniela.
Just a bit.
Sorry. Okay, Deb. Daniela?
Sorry, yes, through you. I have to say, when I first glanced at this application, I didn't appreciate what the big deal was with regards to increased height and density, and then I read the staff report, and I flipped in favor of that recommendation. And then I read the applicant's report, and I flopped again. You know, it really seems to be coming down to. It appears to me that these requested variances that are in question, numbers 2 and 3, is more due to the lack of infrastructure. It's more of an infrastructure question as opposed to the height and density. It's more the result of the infrastructure requirements of those requested variances. So somewhere in there is a question. To staff, the applicant feels that there's sufficient infrastructure to accommodate this project, and that the future infrastructure needs for future projects would be addressed in the future. Talk to me about what is wrong with that approach.
Thank you. Through the chair, that approach on paper does sound positive, but we can't really dictate what will happen in 2 to 5 years. You know, as they mentioned, as Scott had mentioned, they're coming in due to market changes to look at additional units. We you know, we may anticipate them coming in the future in requesting additional units on further blocks within the draft plan of subdivision. It all depends on the market. So that's all I can say, I guess, at this time about that point.
You good, Daniela?
I don't know if I'm good, but I think I'll just let that sit there for now. Thank
Sure.
you.
We're not closing. Jeff, you had your hand up?
So Danielle asked my first question, but I'm still a bit confused. The applicant is saying that it's 18.4 liters, and the city is saying it's 26.5. And how do two professionals have two different numbers? If either staff or the applicant can address that.
Yeah, I could address that through the chair. So essentially, we both, the applicant and the city, both agree on the 26.5. What they're doing is the Bostwick Community Center contributes 7.5 liters a second as part of that 26.5 overall. So all they're doing is taking away that 7.5 from the 26.5, and that's where they land with the 18. When I talk about 26.5, I'm including the community center as well as York's development lands.
Okay, thank you.
Miriam, I noticed you had your hand up. Yes?
Yeah, I think it was about the same, it was that same question, but yeah, I worded it differently in that what would be the number that York has to land on in order to make this project a go? So right now, the city's saying 26.5 is that flow. So what is the absolute maximum that York can take this to in order to get those extra units in? So that's my question to staff.
I can speak to that. So through the chair, the subdivision was accepted with the maximum population of 26.5 liters per second from the entirety of the development and the community center. So the population that was given to this block through the subdivision process was 698 people, I believe. And that didn't include this increase of 33 units. So that's kind of where the concern is, that the approved subdivision drawings are already maximized, and this would be exceeding the agreed allocation.
Just another follow-up question to this. So was this an agreed upon allocation prior to now, and it's now just being pushed? Is that what I'm to believe? Like we're trying to get more out of it?
I'm not through the chair. The subdivision was maximized at the 26.5 liters per second. I wasn't, and now the unit count has increased above what was shown on the subdivision drawings. So it would ultimately be resulting in excess of the 26.5 liters per second.
And then just another further question to that, how, if you divvy it out to 690 people or whatever it is, how many people per unit would you be counting that as?
It's high density development, so it's 1.6 people per unit is what has been used in terms of the population. Okay. And then there is a commercial component as well. So then the population that for the commercial component.
Okay, thank you so much. That was that number is what was like in my, what I was after. Thank you. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so now, are you guys good with the city staff? And we'll have, I think Ali has his hand up. Or Carlos, who is it? Okay.
Madam Chair, Ali Soufan here.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
So committee, are you done with our staff?
Yeah.
Yes. And Daniela, you can always go back to him, okay?
Thank you.
All right, so then welcome, Ali. Who are
Madam
you?
Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity to address yourself and the respective committee members. Mr. Lambert is correct if you take a snapshot at a moment in time. But the reality here is this building is currently under construction. We're building the underground parking structure under the towers themselves currently. So it's the largest residential high-rise project in a single phase ever built in the suburbs. This could be 422 units if approved today, which is an extra 33 units than what was originally anticipated. The reality is the sanitary servicing is a factor of the last 12 or 13 years. So the subdivision that staff speak of is a small portion, we'll call it the northerly portion of a 400-acre site, which encompasses the Walmart lands, encompasses the Bob Martin's golf lands, it encompasses the old Green Giant processing factory there. So the 26 liters a second basically speaks to 6 high-density blocks, which is less than about 20% of the overall lands. What Mr. Lambert, with all due respect, didn't tell you is there's a subdivision application to the south called the Kilbourne subdivision, which has a trunk sewer you could drive a pickup design that you could drive a pickup truck through. And that would take any deficient sanitary capacity southbound for this land and other lands. And so to be fair and transparent, there is no sanitary issue in regards to capacity on this site. It's a shell game. Do you want to apply the capacity to this block, which is the second block out of 6 blocks in the subdivision that was just spoken of at the 26 liters a second? Or do you want to factor in the next 4 blocks that are not site plan approved yet and don't have any imminent development plans? In simple terms, the sanitary issue is really a non-issue. and Stantec has confirmed that in the first instance, but really you have to zoom out to 30,000 feet to look at the entire block, which we currently own, and we're currently in our second submission on the south of this subdivision that we're speaking of, that will pick up this and many other facets of development lands that we currently own, including the Walmart block. Let me see where my other notes are. I apologize for rambling on here, but this file has been a 20-year saga, and not one planning application has been recommended for approval on this entire site since day one. So excuse me for my bitterness, for lack of a better term. I think, and realistically, the height and density, all we're trying to add here is the rooftop indoor amenity areas specific to modern big city amenities. So, you know, when we originally had these lands approved and some of the other high-rise developments around town that are currently operational, you know, London wasn't a city to celebrate its rooftops of high-rises. Now we have pools, we have indoor lounges and bars and games rooms on the roof, and they're heated year-round. And so we're trying to bring those modern amenities to both downtown London, which we have at the, you know, some of our larger buildings in the downtown, but also in the suburbs. So I hope we can appreciate the fact that, you know, adding some indoor space on the roof doesn't really prohibit the function and flow of this development, whether you be on the ground, mid-block, or on the rooftop. I totally understand where staff coming from, but I respectfully disagree when it comes to this specific application. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee, any further questions before I jump in? Miriam, do you have another question?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You know, our reports are black and white, but this discussion has put us in a very awkward situation. There's an opportunity for growth. It sounds like an exciting project, but I'm also listening to staff whose responsibility is to ensure about the sewer system in the future. So would it be possible that you guys can sit down together and work this out and come back? Because I think that where I see this committee leaning, we can simply go ahead and call the vote, and I think they would support the application. That seems to me the feeling. But I want to make it fair to staff because I do worry about the sewage. Would that be a possibility? And could we do it within 2-3 weeks? Brent,
if I may add, Madam Chair, I as the applicant would definitely be willing to take a holding provision specific to the sanitary capacity, because I feel totally comfortable that if staff has a genuine willingness to sit down and look at the various options to move the capacities from one block to the other. Yeah. And I feel very confident about that. I would definitely accept the holding provision on this approval in anticipation of an amicable sanitary servicing solution for 33 units, you know, on a block of land that's approved for 2,500 units. So, but the fact of the matter is we're under construction. So to reconcile or to be validated with our building permit, we would need to increase the height and density so we can submit our current drawings. And this, you know, to be honest, we're not going to be flushing a toilet literally for 24 months here because we're just getting out of the ground. So I don't think the sanitary piece is going to get in our way day one, but I think we can, through a holding provision, demonstrate and work with staff on a very, you know, sort of amicable basis to, you know, justify a solution. I don't think we have to necessarily come up with a mitigating factor because I think it's more of a balance sheet, a spreadsheet analysis rather than a physical analysis.
Okay, so you're amenable to defer this for a couple of weeks?
Not really. I'm more amenable to a holding provision on this approval potentially for
can't do
sanitary
that.
servicing.
Ally, we can't do that through the Committee of
You don't
Adjustment.
do holding provisions? Okay. I should polish up on my, okay. Then I would respectfully request that the committee make a decision today. I really don't think there is a sanitary issue. Again, 33 units of excess request will not differentiate a 2,500 unit development that's in its second block of a multiple block subdivision.
Okay, thank you
Respectfully.
very much. Okay, so we're actually done. We're back to committee. Daniela, were you finished with questions? I know you felt uncomfortable.
Yes, I think maybe this question may already be answered, but I'd like it to hear it again. As the project proposed, can that project have the infrastructure that's currently available to it and it function properly as it is today? Because I'm assuming like it could be many years before there's any expansion on the next projects on the lands nearby. And who knows, the market may change and those projects won't happen for many years. It would be good to intensify the lands that are currently in development. So if that project could work now, that's my question. Would it work now with the existing infrastructure that's been discussed with the sewage?
Thank you. Brent?
Thank you. Through the chair. There was a reason why we came up with the limit, the 26.5 liters a second, because that was the maximum that our downstream municipal system could handle in regards to flows. So what I can tell you today, based on our research and understanding, that with these additional 33 units, they might not sound like much, but it goes over the 26.5 liters a second that was established as the limit that the system can handle. So if we increase the flows, like we mentioned in our memo, there may be negative impacts to the system downstream. There could be surcharging. There could be other properties downstream that could be impacted potentially. So that's what we're concerned about. And and I just want to reiterate, there was a reason why we came up with that limit. And I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
May I answer the question from my opinion, Madam Chair, through you?
No, sorry, Ally. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm soft and weak today.
So no, and I
Sure,
appreciate
sure.
Mr. Lambert's opinion, but I think the question was, is there servicing capacity for this proposed development today? And the simple answer is yes, because I think the simple answer is the subdivision that equates to the 26 liters per second is a total of about 2,200 to 2,500 units of capacity. The reality is we've built out 300 units east of the YMCA Community Center, and this would be 433. This would be called phase 2 of 6 phases under this sanitary umbrella. Without looking at the future trunk sewer that we currently have in the approval process or the review process to the south of here called the Kilbourne lands. So I guess in my humble position, the simple answer is yes, there is capacity today for this proposal.
Okay, now the committee, it's up to you guys what you're going to do. I know you've heard everything and it's a very difficult decision to make, but that's our job. So could I have a motion to whatever? Miriam?
I'll move the application. Just to get something on the floor.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Okay, calling the question, those in favor of the application as written. In favor? Opposed? That's
No, I
carried.
was,
Yep, that's okay. 3-1. So that was a very difficult decision to make. So let me finish off. This permission is not final until the expiration of the statutory appeal period of 20 days from the date of the decision is signed, during which the applicant, the minister, or a specified person or public body may file with the Secretary Treasurer an appeal against the decision of the Committee of Adjustment. So that also means the city could appeal too. So just so we know, everybody here at the committee, okay? So thank you very much, Kaylin, Brent, Scott, and Ally and Carlos. Appreciate it. Okay,
Thank
we're
you,
on to
Madam
the
Chair.
next.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for your time.
We're on to the next. I'm taking a bit of time today. So the next application is probably going to be easier. So this is submission number A26004, notice of public hearing under section 451 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. Prima Abraham of 1983 Westwick Walk, and the purpose is to permit a sunroom. The one variance is the permit to permit a lot coverage of 42%, whereas 40 is the maximum permitted. Does the committee want a presentation? No. Okay, let's go right to it then. So here's who's recommending.
Move to recommend.
No, sorry. Is there anybody here for this application?
Yep,
Yes.
I'm here, Jackson Take-Road
Okay.
with Four Seasons Sunrooms.
Okay. So do you, you're fine with this application? You have nothing to add?
No.
Okay. All right. Good. So Jeff, you've moved it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. No questions, I take it?
No questions.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I'll third it. All those
We're
in favor?
done. I'm not, thank you.
We're
All-
just we're like exhausted from the last
Two.
three.
Two. Okay, so all those in favor of the sunroom? Opposed? None. So that passed 4-0. So now stay on, Jackson. I have to read this.
Okay.
Now this permission is not final until the expiration date of the statutory appeal period of 20 days. I have to read my own writing. From the date the decision is signed, during which the applicant, the minister, or the specified persons or public body may file with the Secretary Treasurer an appeal against the decision of the Committee of Adjustment. So don't do anything for 20 days.
Awesome. Got it. Thank you very much, Madam Chair and Committee.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience. Now we're on to the very last one. This is submission number A26005. Notice of public hearing under section 45(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. Owner, Forest Homes Ontario Limited. The location is 3944 Campbell Street North, to construct a single dwelling. The variance is to permit a lot coverage of 42%, whereas 40% is the maximum permitted. Okay, do we have anybody here from Forest Homes?
Through the chair, I have not heard back from them. I've sent them the invitation for registration twice.
Really? Maybe we should just defer it, but no, that's terrible. Sorry. Anybody need a presentation on this? No? No? Staff, anything to add? No? No, just, okay. All right, I'll have a motion. What's your motion, Miriam?
I'll move to, I guess I'll move the application forward at
Okay.
this point. Yeah.
Seconder? Jeff? Calling the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. There is not much sense in me reading to nobody, right? Okay. That's it, folks. Thank you very much. You guys have been very tolerant. You've done your homework. I appreciate that. There was a lot of reading this week, and I certainly understand the dilemmas sometimes we have to, we have to solve at this committee. So thank you very much. Thanks to staff. Could I have a motion for adjournment, please? Miriam, Danielle, all in. Oh, okay, can't wait to get out of here.